RusAme reader, Song, and welcome to the binge compilation for Rival Schools by Cake. Thank you guys so much for sticking this story out with me and all the other stories you've listened to. Well, I'd like to invite you to join the Discord, which is linked down in the description. That being said, let's get into the binge. Chapter 1, The Bowls. Ring, ring, ring. America grabbed his bag and left the classroom, immediately getting followed by a few girls. By a few, he meant 20 different people. America, what's up? America turned his head to see one of his best friends quickly walking towards him. America slowed down to let them catch up before walking back at his normal pace. So, there's this rumor going around, and I thought you'd like to hear it. Oh, you know I'm always up for some drama, America gleefully replied. So, apparently there's going to be a party after the football game if we win against St. Victoria. If we lose, I think the plan is to get drunk alone. Really? What if we tie? Our team tied with the last two games. St. Victoria is a great school, so we'd probably consider it a win. Then you'll catch me hyping up the crowd. I'm the senior class president, after all. But weren't you going to go in the first place? How come now? Just wanting some beer? Bro, having hardcore Christian parents sucks. They don't even buy some things they think have alcohol in it. Like, I just want to have fun, you know? Yeah, sounds fucking boring. I gotta go down this hall to class. See you later. See ya, Brazil. Tell the coach to let you have the ball sometimes in the game. America was left to continue on to his class alone now. Those girls hadn't ever left him, and they were really starting to piss him off. They were all the same, too. Same style of clothing, same generic hairstyles, same shoes for some fucking reason. Plus, America was gay, and this was a widely known fact. America walked into his next class with his head all high, hands in the pockets of his Letterman jacket. He walked over to a table where a group of guys all sat, them all wearing the same types of jackets. It was a school spirit thing, not a gang thing, I promise. If it were a gang thing, America would have cursed out the teacher walking in. But America is a great student, a senior class president, valedictorian, not directly disobeying his parents. He just didn't share their beliefs, but still was a great kid to them, and was on varsity American football, hockey, and even cross-country. Everyone knew him, everyone loved him. Hey guys, what's up? America asked in a greeting, sitting down with them. America, we're just trying to figure out how the hell we're going to win against St. Victoria. They are the best football team in the region. The guys all talked about the plans. America now added in. Their teacher had said she needed to do some planning, so they had a free day, leaving the guys to discuss plans since 5 of them were on the team. It was exciting nonetheless. Spain, one of the boys there, was being a cocky bastard and kept claiming he could score the winning goal. Belgium was complaining about Spain, saying Brazil or Colombia was more likely to score the winning goal. Colombia was fixated on the idea that the game would be a 1-1 tie. Mexico was talking about how scared he was for the game because of St. Victoria always scored a goal, and he was goalkeeper. Germany just sat there quietly, drawing plays that they could use for any scenario. A girl was at their table, too, and she also played football. She was the varsity girls football captain, and was helping Germany pull all of the ideas together. Poland. He's pretty smart. Are you just watching him, basically? I've had to tell him to put 11 people on the field twice already, she replied, causing Germany to nervously laugh. Yeah, whatever. I don't like the math. I feel that, America groaned, sliding deeper into his chair. Hey, y'all remember who's hosting the party tonight? It's literally your best subject. You have your highest grade in calculus. Spain objected. Fuck off, Germany mumbled in reply. I can be good at something without liking it, Dummkopf. Dummkopf, German, roughly translates to fool. The group all laughed and continued with their conversations. Once the bell rung again, America left the classroom and immediately headed to his next class. Next was lunch, so he was pretty stoked. Plus, his teacher was super chill. He walked down the halls and into the next class, stopping dead in his tracks when he entered. His ex-boyfriend was talking to another guy in that class. Slowly, America slid in, trying his best not to be noticed as he crept to his seat. America! Hey, Cuba! America awkwardly replied, throwing his hands halfway up. You excited for the game tonight? There's a player on St. Victoria's team who you should try to get the number of. He's the captain. Position forward, he's number 5. Very tall. You'll immediately attract him. Distract him. We need this game won. You calling me a whore? You seem to carry that title high. The ex replied coldly. I'll only do it for the team. If you bring me a bottle of alcohol before the game, I'll try to persuade him with that. Cuba turned to face America for the first time in years. The friend, Jamaica, only smiled, looking forward. Deal. Cuba immediately walked back out and left America alone, and, in all honesty, confused. Was he only wanting the game won so he can have alcohol and party? Maybe because he was playing and he wanted to impress another guy? America had to answer and did not intend on getting an answer for quite a few days. Sleep with the tall, hot captain of St. Victoria's team. Won't be impossible at all, America grumbled to himself, leaning his cheek onto his hand. What even is his name? Russia. He's not hard to find. You'll be fine, Jamaica responded, leaning back. You've got to get your braids fixed. They're becoming dreads. I've got an appointment for Tuesday. Thank God my parents don't make me have basic white boy hair. I bet your mom threatened your dad. Probably. Chapter 2, The Cannons. Russia fixed his tie in the locker room mirror, a few other guys putting their uniforms back on. He turned around and grabbed his bag, promptly leaving the room and heading to his next class. He was planning on taking a nap after the next period since the teacher was the football coach and would wake him up when he needed him to get ready to leave. Russia dreaded the game against Grace Bay High School. From what Russia heard, they were a ghetto. They were cheaters. Good afternoon, Russia. The coach greeted as Russia walked in, prompting Russia to greet him back. He set his bag down and sat down, immediately slumping over. He heard a few girls laugh next to him, but he ignored it, suggesting that they were up to no good. Russia, man, you won't believe this. Russia lifted his head hesitantly to face the man who owned the voice. It was his close friend, Mongolia. He sat eagerly next to Russia, so Russia picked himself up and propped his head on his hand. Apparently, Grace Bay doesn't have any uniform. They're too poor to afford one. They do these theme nights because they can't even buy school spirit wear. I believe we are all aware of the ghetto-ass school that somehow made it to knockout. A girl chimed in. Romania was her name. You can't lose to a shitty public school, Russia. Don't let them advance. Russia tiredly nodded and set his head back down, this time being left alone. He pulled his phone out and opened his social media app, searching up the school. Russia was the school president at St. Victoria's, so he was curious about the captain for Grace Bay, was also their school president. He quickly found out that he didn't play football, but that he would be leading the school cheer for their team. Russia found it cute how that is what his job was, telling people to have school spirit. Russia had found his profile, so he decided to take an even further look into it. He clicked on an image of him and another boy and read the caption, immediately figuring out how different the school was. The caption read, "Although we aren't dating anymore, I'm still glad to be able to call you my friend. Happy birthday, Cuba." And Russia felt a twinge of jealousy strike him. He leaned over to Romania to tell her what he found. "They can be openly gay at the Grace Bay. Their senior class president dated a man," he whispered. She scoffed in response, showing the same level of jealousy. Romania had been hiding a relationship with another girl named Albania, and Russia was the only one out to his sister, Ukraine. Romania and Albania and Mongolia, who was eavesdropping, because he liked to do that, they were stuck in an Orthodox Christian school, so none of them dared to open up about relationships of any type. "Romania, come up and solve the problem." Romania lightly punched Russia on the arm, and Russia laid his head back down and closed his eyes, actually trying to fall asleep this time. Russia struggled, however. The uniform he was wearing was uncomfortable, and the tie had to be as tight as it was, practically choking Russia. He was barely even able to feel tired at that point. But he couldn't get out of the uniform until after school, which was another whole 48 minutes away. He was stuck suffering in the uncomfortable uniform. People began loudly talking around Russia, Romania and Mongolia staying quiet as they shifted close to Russia. "Leave him alone," the teacher shouted, trying to regain control of his class. "Russia is playing an important game today. Knock it off." Russia picked his head up after realizing he was the problem. It kind of hurt, but he did understand where his peers were coming from. A girl walked into the class, which caused the entire class to go quiet. Every guy started mumbling between each other besides Mongolia, who stayed quiet. Russia immediately knew what that meant, because every guy would kill to fuck his sister. "This student is leaving," she said, handing the paper to the teacher. She was visibly uncomfortable, and it wasn't because she worked with the office staff during the last period. Rather, she was a lesbian. "I'll meet with you after class, Russia," she said before leaving the classroom. Russia was lucky. He had his 2 sisters and a very supportive father who was willing to love and protect them no matter what. Russia came out first and was surprised by how accepting his dad was, even offering to take him and his siblings out of that school and putting them in a school that would be more comfortable for them to be out with their feelings. Ukraine was next, and he offered it again, even allowing them to help understand him better. Their sister, Belarus, was still too young to understand completely, but she was into public schools so that she wouldn't be indoctrinated, as their dad put it. Their dad wasn't even religious himself. He put his kids in there initially because the school had high ratings and test scores. "Man, you should really hook me up with your sister. I know she'll love it when I shove myself down that nice throat of hers." "How about you suck your own dick?" Russia refuted, putting his head back down. Romania yelled at the guy in her native tongue when he tried to fight, Mongolia joining in somewhat periodically. Russia loosened his tie and unbuttoned the first button of his shirt and found it more viable to fall asleep, which he was now able to. And just like that, Russia was asleep. It didn't feel like he had slept for long, but he was woken up 3 hours later so he could grab his stuff and get ready for the game so that they can leave. The coach handed Russia a small snack box and left the room. Russia put the box in his bag while he grabbed the garment bag so he could change. Quick in and out of the bathroom and the classroom, and he was finally ready. He checked his phone and found he had another hour until he had to board the bus to Grace Bay Stadium. Russia, how'd you sleep? Russia looked up at his sister, who sat down next to him. If we lose to Grace Bay, you should transfer there senior year. Their current president, or senior class president, as they call it, is openly gay. You'd be able to fit in a lot better there. No more horny dickhead guys? Yep, apparently if they win, the students are holding a party completely unknown to the faculty there. Maybe try and sneak in and see what their culture is like. Thanks, Russ. Try to lose, eh? I'll fuck myself up, don't worry. Chapter 3, Hospital Run. America anxiously watched the tailgate party the juniors and seniors were throwing. A few younger years were spread throughout, but all were doing the same thing: preparing chants and partying. And drinking soda, because none of them wanted to get caught. Yet. However, America sat on the back of his truck with his sister sitting next to him because she knew he was anxious. I'm sure you'll be fine. Just wait till they get here, and we'll all put a plan together quickly for you, she said in hope of reassuring him. Plus, you get to sleep with a hot guy and find out what it's like being a bottom for the first time. I'm not worried about any of that. I'm worried about if he rejects my advances. Here's their team, a voice announced, everyone turning their head. It was about an hour and a half till kickoff, and St. Victoria had arrived in their fancy charter bus. Lucky asses. America spotted another guy staring at him through the window of the bus. Tall, awfully hot, and America was pleading he was the man that he was going after. He seemed unhappy, as if he didn't want to be here. Makes sense if he were a rich kid, but the rest seemed energetic. Something was off about him. America watched the other boy closely as he grabbed his stuff and left the bus, following the other boys. Found him, he whispered to his sister. He's fucking hot. She hung her head with a smile on her face, obviously not expecting the last 3 words. The bus St. Victoria arrived in had stopped and let the team off, but America was too distracted. You think these rich assholes ever had a tailgate party? Nah, they just sit in a circle and read the damn Bible. America spotted the tall boy walking towards the field, most likely to inspect it. The team had walked into the locker room they were given to use. America jumped off the back of his truck and quietly made his way over to the other boy. The loud laughter from the party got quieter as America approached the boy. He reached him and stood next to him. Feeled nice? The other boy jumped back, startled by America's sudden presence. America only laughed. I'm assuming you're the captain. Anything else, or just kind of popular? School president, he responded, America immediately falling for his accent. You. Senior class president. I'm going to assume they're the same thing, and before you ask, I don't play football. Scared you'll get hurt. I do cross-country, hockey, and egg ball football. Anyways, I'm America. Nice to meet you. Russia. Your accent is hot. America said, deciding to finally make a move. Since they were out of view of everyone, it would be easier on America. Russia nodded in thanks, but America wasn't willing to back down. He shifted closer to Russia and smiled at the taller boy. "Is it third floor grass?" "Feel yourself, big boy. Hop the fence." Russia sighed and did so, crouching down to feel. America tried to hop the fence, but stumbled, landing on Russia. Russia immediately, but quietly, groaned in pain. America stood up and apologized, actually feeling bad. "Fuck, my ankle. You're lucky I was planning on throwing the game. My team can't win without me." "Wait, what?" "My sister heard that you're going to have a party if you won, and she is a lesbian and wanted to get laid." "Aw, but the hot guy doesn't." America awkwardly chuckled. "Not with a strained ankle," Russia replied. "Here, I'll take you to the ER so they can check it out. I'll have a friend tell your coach. Don't worry, my sister can grab your stuff too, if they let her." "That would be appreciated," Russia mumbled. America lifted Russia up and helped him over the fence, making sure he didn't fall on him again. He pulled out his phone and texted Canada to drive his truck to him so Russia wouldn't have to walk far. Thankfully, she saw it and did just that. "What did your dumbass do?" "Got my ass beat by some metal," America joked, helping Russia into his truck. "Poland can give you a ride to the party, I'm sure. Just see if you can get his stuff and bring it home so Dad can bring it to the hospital." "You betcha," she said cheerfully, patting America's shoulder. "Stop hopping fences." America rolled his eyes and hopped into the truck, waving bye to his sister. He shifted the truck into drive and quickly left the parking lot, heading towards the hospital. "Again, I'm so sorry. I'm kind of fucking stupid. I did not mean to do that." You're fine, Russia responded, his head back. The rest of the drive was almost in complete silence until America asked if he should run in and grab Russia some crutches first or something. Russia said he'd be fine, he just wouldn't put too much weight on it. But America was hesitant to accept this response. "Oh, actually, would you like me to just drop you off at the ER, or should I stay with you?" "I prefer if you stay. Keep me company. Hospitals are boring." America nodded in agreement, turning into the parking garage for the hospital. He, very luckily, found a parking space near the door and parked, jumping right out to help Russia out. Once Russia was out, he slowly helped him inside towards the check-in desk. "How may I help you two boys?" the nurse who was working up there asked, not looking up from her laptop. "He sprained his ankle," America responded, letting Russia throw his weight onto him. The nurse quickly looked up and nodded. She handed America a clipboard and motioned to a few seats, telling him a doctor would get to them soon. America helped Russia over to the seats and sat him down, sitting down next to him. "This is all your personal information, Russia," America mumbled, handing the clipboard to Russia. He took it and began filling it out, leaving America to just sit there. "I'm so sorry." "You've got to stop apologizing. I've forgiven you so much." He chuckled, America feeling butterflies when he did so. "Please don't take this too weirdly, but your voice is actually hot. You've got to have a girlfriend, right?" Russia shook his head, setting the clipboard down when he finished. A faint smile was on his face, and it was turning America on because he was just that hot. A doctor had walked over and introduced himself to the two, leading them to a room with the clipboard in hand that they were supposed to turn in. "Sit here, and a nurse will be with you shortly." America and Russia sat in the room in silence. Shortly was a literal fucking lie, however, because they were in that room for a full-ass hour and nobody was coming. America was sitting on the most uncomfortable chair and Russia was laying on the bed, probably would be asleep if he wasn't too keen on asking America if he was comfortable at all. The answer was always, "No, but the nurse should be here soon." Every time, and yet the nurse was never there. Chapter 4. Bored. Russia was staring at the ceiling, waiting for the nurse that had finally shown up to come back with his x-ray results. Russia had been transferred into a new room that had a couch. So America was obviously passed out since it was now around 3 a.m. Russia had called his dad about the problem and was then immediately informed that St. Victoria lost. Who would have guessed? Russia had given his phone to America so he wouldn't have to look at any of the texts his teammates were sending him. Thankfully, America was asleep, so that entire worry was cast away. "Mr. Russia?" Russia lowered his head to look at the nurse who had just walked in. She approached him holding papers, but didn't seem like she intended handing them to him. "Your x-rays show that your ankle has not been sprained, but rather it's broken. It's severe enough to require surgery. So you should expect that in a few hours we'll get a cast on you soon after that. You should expect to be discharged in a few days." Russia nodded, taking that few days as a week with how slow the hospital was. Apparently, they were short-staffed. The nurse left, and Russia leaned his head back once again. "Good news?" America murmured from his sleepy state, slowly sitting up. "Niet, ankle is broken." Russia responded, sighing. He looked over at America, who had his head hung and a guilty face barely able to be seen. "It'll be fine, though. It just gives me a reason not to go to school for a bit. Stay at home, you know." "How do your parents think about your sister being a lesbian?" America asked, probably wanting to mask the guilt. "Dad is fine with it. He even put our little sister into a public school, so that she doesn't have to be scared about herself in the future. I myself am gay, and he was pretty cool with it." "Wait, really? Why do you think I don't have a girlfriend?" Russia replied with a laugh, looking back up at the ceiling. "And why I didn't tell you to fuck off when you kept calling me hot?" "I dunno. I'm not really that smart. I don't even know how I have a 4.0 GPA and valedictorian. I'm going, though. School ends in, 2-3 months? Cool that I can tell you you're hot whenever, though. Which you definitely are." Russia laughed. America ended up laughing as well, but Russia laughed for a very, very specific reason. America was probably the first guy other than Mongolia and his dad that was cool with his sexuality that he knew. Maybe because America was swinging that way too. But it was a relief. America stood up and sat in the chair next to Russia's bed, leaning back. "Thanks for forgiving me. I know I keep apologizing, but I did not mean to do this. Literally, plan was to, suck your dick so you missed the game or some shit." "It was a plan, huh? Make me miss the game anyways?" "Well, people really wanted that party, man," America reasoned, awkwardly fumbling with his hands. "So, when's the blowjob?" Russia asked quite cockily, probably actually hoping America would suck his dick. "Oh, yeah." Russia quickly said he was joking when America started stuttering, but America didn't take it. He stood up and took a few steps till he was next to Russia's hips and looked over at him suggestively. "Now," was all he said before he slipped Russia's sweatpants off, taking his boxers with them. Russia couldn't even be bothered to stop him. It was probably the only action he'd get till he left St. Victoria. America gently grabbed Russia's dick and spit on it, moving his hand up and down to lubricate it. Russia got hard pretty quick, so America leaned down and licked the tip before shoving Russia's entire dick down his throat. It most definitely did not fit. He bobbed his head up and down in a fast yet steady motion, leaving Russia to throw his head back and keep a hand on America's head, pushing him down further. "God, you're good," Russia mumbled, enjoying every bit of it. America was enjoying it as well, though he wasn't used to doing this at all, especially not with this size. He kept his rhythm the same still, giving Russia immense pleasure, yet he still somehow held back from taking control. Maybe he was too scared to hurt America. Russia didn't know. Maybe it was the fact that America was already so good doing it without any interference that any additional would fuck it all up. Maybe. Russia felt a knotting sensation take hold near his stomach, maybe a bit lower, which could only mean one thing. Russia quickly notified America, but that didn't stop him at all. Instead, America picked up the pace, pushing Russia further and further to the edge. Then he reached it. Russia softly groaned as he released into America's mouth, him not pulling off and intending to swallow it. When he did, he pulled himself off Russia and smiled, moving himself up and leaning his head on Russia's stomach. "I would literally die if you fucked me," he laughed, pushing his head further into Russia's stomach. Russia sat up and pulled his boxers and sweatpants back up before dragging America into bed with him, holding him at his side. America was obviously tired, having woken up maybe 20 minutes ago, so he didn't even bother with questioning Russia's reasoning and stuffed his face into Russia's neck. He chuckled a bit before he ended up falling asleep, Russia rubbing his back as he did so. Russia now felt comfortable in that damned hospital bed, leaning his head back to touch America's. The only thing that could have correctly ended the night, or started the morning since it was maybe 3:30 a.m., would have been a kiss, but Russia and America thought that was a bit too fast. They were both now asleep, and once again, there was literally no nurse around to see if Russia was ready for his ankle surgery. Chapter 5. Back to School. America parked his truck in his parking spot at the school, his sister quite quickly jumping out. He turned off the truck and followed, locking the doors right after he got out. "You know, you never told me how the hospital visit went, and how I told you all about the party. And how you are desperately in love with some girl from St. Victoria? Yeah, well, I broke his ankle and was just there for company. His teammates weren't too happy he had broken his ankle, but it wasn't his fault at all." "How much is there?" "A lot. I sucked his dick," America announced, both proudly and loudly. A few cheers came from other people nearby, but America ignored them. "Honestly, he wasn't that bad, and I actually had a good sleep." "On a hospital couch?" Canada questioned, both of them entering the school now. "If you can barely sleep without holding something, how'd you sleep on one of those uncomfortable-ass couches?" "Easy. I slept on him." "Oh my God," she muttered. "Did you even get his number, or did you forget? Again?" "Again?" America said shamefully. "I forgot again, but he was so hot. Like I'd tell Mom and Dad I was dating him at that point. And his sister is a lesbian, and they're both out to his dad, and he accepts them. I'd live with them." "Yeah." Canada turned down a hall to go to her locker, while America continued on his way to go to his locker. Immediately, there was a group of guys surrounding it, but it was merely the football team. "America, we won!" Germany shouted when he spotted America. "You missed the fucking party, dumbass!" "I broke the dude's ankle by mistake," America replied when he reached out to the group, opening his locker. "He had a nice dick, though." "You still gave him a blowjob?" Poland quickly questioned, poking her head over Germany's shoulder. "I had to apologize." Spain shook his head, laughing lowly as he did so. "You are one dumbass," he said in between laughs. America punched his shoulder playfully and shut his locker, grabbing the book he took out. "Go fuck yourself. I had sex one way or another," was America's response before walking from the group to his next class. "Cuba! Hey, wait up!" "She did not!" "Bro, you won't believe it." Everyone was having great conversations amongst one another, but America wasn't interested in conversations. He had the man's name, so he figured he'd at least search him up on social media platforms. Get into contact somehow. America was longing to be with that guy again. Be friends with benefits. Yet, being the clueless dumbass he is, he forgot to ask for his number. He definitely could have played it off with a, "so I can get to know you better," or something, but he just generally forgot, and America wanted to meet his dad, at least have one father who accepted him. His dad was definitely not the accepting type. He and Canada begged to be in a public school, saying it was better for opportunities for college and sports, but neither actually focused on that. Both went to a private school of their own and hated it. People constantly saying slurs and girls constantly being harassed, but it was being played off as "boys will be boys," or "it's the Lord's will." America hated it, and he feared for his sister. Now he was fearful for his youngest two. His little sister, Australia, already describing to America what older boys would do to her because she's going to be a beautiful bride. America wanted to be successful so he could save his siblings. All of them. Sneak them out of his parents' house, give them opportunities, and save them from torture. His parents both know what happens in that school, and neither give a fuck. If America could find a way to get Russia's dad to help him, he might be able to save his siblings, and might even get a boyfriend in the process. A boyfriend who might care about him and not berate him constantly for his tiniest slip-ups. America walked into his homeroom and sat in his seat, which, of course, was assigned. This was the one teacher who didn't like him. Reasons? America was too full of himself. Canada almost fought this teacher when America said the reason. Actually, she walked over to the teacher and yelled at him. That furthered the constant emotional abuse America gets. And only America. He's a bit of a dick. "America, you're missing 10 assignments." "Bullshit," America grumbled under his breath. "Which ones?" "Figure it out," was the teacher's reply. America stared at the teacher, resisting the urge to jump out of his seat and beat the ever-living shit out of this man. Instead, America, secretly yet out in the open, flipped off the teacher and picked up his book to read instead. It was titled, "How to Deal with Horrible Teachers," and America thought that it was fitting. The book itself was actually useful. When the bell rang, America still didn't put the book down, just to further piss off the teacher, to make it even. He tried to improve for him already, but he gave up. Nothing was good enough for him. Alright, you have a project to do for the next week. It's due Friday. You need to make a presentation over a topic I'll give you on the board, and the requirements there too. America, put the book down. America looked over the book at the teacher and glared for a few seconds before going back to the book. Hey, Mary, where'd you get the book? Amazon. Got it in 2 days. America gladly answered. It's pretty good. Very useful. America, put the book down now. I ought to think you let kids read. Another student butted in, trying not to laugh. That's a detention, America. I'll just let you know, they don't even let me in that room whenever I go. They all think your reasons are stupid. America had enough of this teacher. He might as well get suspended now. Lose everything he has. He doesn't give a fuck. He's done. Fail me. Go ahead. They've always changed my grades because they know they couldn't fire you yet. I know you're bullshit because this class hasn't even given out 6 assignments this semester. I've got 100s in all of my other classes, so it's definitely not my other classes. It's your bullshit. Get the fuck out of my class. Gladly. Go fuck yourself. America walked out of the classroom with his stuff and quickly to the office. He entered and announced his arrival, saying, I cussed him out, sorry. What did he do this time? The secretary asked from her desk, writing a paper. 1 said I was missing 10 assignments. 2 yelled at me for not putting down my book. 3 tried to give me a detention, again. I've got a slip. Can you bring this to him? America watched as the security officer took a pink slip and walked out, him knowing exactly what that meant. They're firing him. Yippee! Mr. Sweden is in his office if you want to go see him, America. Thank you. America walked past the woman and straight into the office of the school social worker. He immediately knew what happened and motioned to his couch, pushing some papers and a box to America. It was coloring sheets and crayons. America immediately took them and said thank you, laying on his back as he began coloring. It was a dolphin. He couldn't resist. Chapter 6. Recovering. Russia sat in his bed, staring at the ceiling above. The cast was annoying and constantly in the way, basically ruining Russia's life. He had his sister bring homework so he wouldn't fail the semester, but oh, how boring it was. Romania, thankfully, constantly texted, despite being in school. Although it was usually about this redhead girl she saw at the football game in Grace Bay's stands. She also said she sat near the front row and was leading the chants for the school, which were all funny as hell. In fact, she constantly talks about the "at least I can be gay and play with multiple balls" chant that they purposefully used. It pissed off all of St. Victoria, apparently, adding on to the already pissed crowd when they heard that someone from Grace Bay accidentally broke his ankle. Now they don't think it's an accident. But Russia knows only because they went as far as to give him a blowjob and not fall asleep on him at first. In retrospect, Russia should have asked for his number. He was cute. Ruski? Russia looked over at the door to spot a little girl standing there, holding a cup with steam emitting from the top. He smiled at her, allowing her to come in. She did, slowly. She was trying not to spill whatever was in the cup, but still wanting to be fast. She set it down on the nightstand next to Russia's bed and crawled into his bed. moving herself in between his body and his arm. He wrapped that arm around her and smiled again, rubbing her back. "I'm going to be fine, Bella," he quietly said in a reassuring tone. "I'll be just fine." "You were gone for a long time," she muttered, her head buried into Russia's side. "Da, but it's okay. I'm back, and I got myself a boyfriend," he whispered to her, trying to pick her hopes up. It worked. "Mary?" "Not yet, Bella. Papa still has to meet him, yes?" Russia chuckled, patting her head. "It takes a while to marry. Sorry, Bella." She began pouting, not satisfied with Russia's answer. She shoved her face into his side again, this time holding it there. Russia felt kind of bad he lied to his sister. But he would probably date America. Nope, he'd definitely date America. He'd sleep with him every night if he could. Soon, Russia realized Belarus had actually fallen asleep, so he gently moved her so he could sit up and grab the drink she had brought. It was tea, and it was still extremely hot, but Russia drank half the cup before setting it down and grabbing his phone. He then remembered finding America on social media, so he opened the app and found his profile again, deciding to message him. He figured America would be worried about how he was healing, but he still had to thank him. "Hey, it's Russia. Thanks for staying at the hospital with me, and getting me out of that school for a month." Russia sent the message and set his phone down, focusing on the sleeping child on him. He knew his father would come and get her in a bit. It's just a matter of when. For now, he just stared at the ceiling once again. Russia tried clearing his mind, as his anxiety of what America's response was skyrocketed. Russia tried to focus on something else, like school or sleep, but it wasn't working. "Russ, has your sister—" Yes, she has. "Would you like me to take her?" Russia looked over at his dad and nodded, a faint smile on his face. His father walked over and gently picked up the small girl, holding her close to his chest. He looked slightly concerned, but left the room. However, not shutting the door. He was probably going to talk to Russia now, or he would close it on his way out, back downstairs, because he was holding a sleeping child. Answer: he was going to talk to Russia. He walked back in, but shut the door this time, leaning against the wall. "What's on your mind, Russ?" "Would you be mad if I had sex?" Russia asked hesitantly. "You are a growing boy, Russia. It's natural for you to do that," his father responded, a smile present on his face. "No, I wouldn't be mad." "But I'm gay, so it wouldn't be a girl." "Russia, I know, you've told me. My stance still stands." "Okay, well, this senior from Grace Bay accidentally fell on me and took me to the hospital, and they said I had a broken ankle, and he stayed with me to give me company. But he was really nice, and I never asked his number. And he also gave me a blowjob, but I found his social media and I messaged him, and I don't know what he'll say." The man stared at his son, holding in his laughter. He walked over and sat on his son's bed, patting his knee in a joking manner. "You panic too much. Take a breath. You'll be fine. If he gave you company, I'm sure he'll still give it to you. Get some rest, Russ." Russia leaned forward and hugged his dad. His father returned the hug, kissing the top of Russia's forehead as he held him. He muttered a few reassuring phrases in their native language. But other than that, it was a quiet, consoling time. His dad patted his back twice before pulling away from Russia and standing up. "Drink the tea and get some rest. Don't worry about his response. I'm certain it'll all be okay. He left the room, and Russia grabbed the cup and finished the tea, laying down as comfortably as his foot allowed him to. Then his phone buzzed. Quickly, Russia picked it up and read the notification. Glad to know I wasn't the only one who was regretting forgetting to get your number. We should definitely do that again. Hang out or fuck. Either is cool with me. We should also definitely date, because my sister is pressuring me to ask you out. Thank God it was mutual. Chapter 7. How Rumors Start. America hesitated, staring at the door in front of him. He was invited over to provide company to his very close friend, as he so called it to his father, so he could leave. America was told his sister would probably answer the door, as she loved to do so. So, with the worry of a tall, terrifying man staring at him, he knocked twice. He heard the pitter-patter of small feet run at the door, a small laugh coming closer. The door opened, and there stood a little girl, staring at America. "Hey, I'm here for your brother," he said calmly, crouching down to her level. "Here, I brought you some candy," he added, handing her a bag of gummies he'd managed to grab on his way over. She quickly took the candy with a big smile, immediately giving America a big hug afterward. He laughed and hugged her back, picking her up so he could carry her inside. He set her down and she ran off, laughing loudly as she did so. America watched her run to her dad, who sat on an armchair, and hand them to him, before sticking her hands back out. "How many do you want?" the man asked, setting the book down and opening the package. "3!" she happily replied. Obviously, she meant 3, but she's still a child. The dad handed her 3 candies, and she took them and ran off upstairs, him setting the bag aside. America quickly took off his shoes and stood back up. "You must be here for Russia. He's upstairs, first door on the left." "Thank you," America said, going up the stairs. The door on the left was left wide open, so America peeked in to see the little girl sitting with Russia on his bed. She was saying something, but America couldn't make it out. He knocked on the door frame and walked in, seeming unsure of what to do. "That man gave me candy!" the little girl immediately chimed, following it up with a laugh. "Hey, America," Russia said rather calmly. "Come sit down next to Bella." America walked over slowly and sat down, sitting near Russia's foot and cautious of hurting him. Russia pat America on the shoulder in an attempt to reassure him, but the little girl distracted them. She jumped off the bed and quickly turned around. "I'm Belarus. You are marry my brother. Da?" Russia awkwardly laughed, while America struggled to holding his laughter. It was so unexpected to America that he was about to say yes, but he had to think about it. "Not yet. Maybe," he responded. "There's a long process first. It sucks." America made it seem like he was on Belarus's side, which would have been okay if she didn't have a look of, "I'm telling Dad," followed by her running out of the room, and also the door shutting. "Ha, poor Papa, he has to deal with her now," Russia chuckled, laying down to look at America, a charming smile on his face. "Thank you for coming. It was pretty lonely." It's fine. I had to get out of the house somehow, because I kinda got grounded for cursing out a teacher and getting them fired," America responded, rubbing the back of his neck. "Your dad seemed nice." "Dad is always nice. He's the reason everyone tries to get me or my other sister as their partner for projects so that they can come over and benefit off of him. He's maybe too nice. He can't see people taking advantage of him. Lucky ass, America mumbled, laying down next to Russia. Russia laughed and pulled America onto him, ruffling his hair. America stifled his laughter by pushing his face into Russia's neck, trying his best to resist laughing. America adored love like this, love that makes him laugh, especially when they don't stop and just continue what they're doing because America is laughing, which is exactly what Russia was doing. They might have been dating for 2 days now, and only actually been with each other once before that, but they had already formed a tight bond. America pulled himself away from Russia and rested his head on his chest, since he was short enough to do that, grabbing one of Russia's hands with his own. Russia responded by setting his other hand on America's back, whispering something in his native language. That moment was immediately ruined by the sound of multiple footsteps and female voices coming up the stairs. America shut up and sat on the other side of the bed, pulling his phone out. The door opened and a girl stuck her head in, as if to tell Russia something. "I've got 2 friends coming over. I'm helping them on an essay, Russ." Immediately, a girl pushed the sister to the side and burst in, saying hi to Russia. She spotted America, but he was wearing his Letterman jacket, so quite quickly she found out what school he went to, and she was pissed. "You're that dumb school who nearly killed Russia!" she screamed, the other girl now stepping in and joining in the harassment. No, Russia quickly jumped in. "He is a good friend and graduated from St. Victoria last year. It's his cousin's jacket." "Yeah, he left it at my place, so I decided to wear it, because we are around the same size and share a lot of clothes," America awkwardly added in. "His parents are family friends. They are nothing to worry about," the sister said, trying to shoo the 2 out of the room. Once the 2 were out, the sister apologized and immediately shut the door, leading the 2 girls back downstairs by the sound of their voices. "Damn your pain," Russia mumbled. America decided that the girls would probably stay downstairs and crawled back onto Russia, this time laying his head in Russia's neck. Russia wrapped his arms tightly around America, apologizing about the lie they made up on the spot and putting the pressure on him. America didn't care. He was just relieved he didn't get dragged out of the house and beat up by a bunch of Christians. He wanted sleep, and he'd get it whether his parents would like him to stay over or not, which they didn't. Russia decided he'd be the bigger man, and he kissed America's forehead, sending butterflies into America's stomach. He slid off Russia and slowly laid next to him, still keeping his head next to Russia's neck. "You're going to take a nap, huh? What happened to my need for company?" Russia joked. "You can sleep with me," he muttered in response. "You did before." "Yeah, but it was at night, and after you sucked me off." "What if I let you fuck me? Will you sleep then?" "I'll sleep now," Russia chuckled, kissing America's forehead once again, just this time longer. America stretched himself closer to Russia, basically asking for another kiss. That wish was promptly granted. "Love you," America mumbled. Once America had fallen asleep, Russia's dad walked up to check on them, and immediately brought another blanket for America. It was a large quilt, so it was impossible for America to be cold now. Chapter 8. First Day Back. Russia hobbled through the halls on his crutches, accompanied by his friend, Mongolia. The two were relatively quiet. Well, Mongolia actually decided to spark a conversation. A conversation of importance. You know how I just love eavesdropping and how it always benefits at least one person? Yeah, I do. Russia sighed, not knowing where he was going with it. Why does this matter? Okay, first of all, Ukraine and Romania snuck into Grace Bay's party with Albania, and Albania got high. Second of all, Coach is going through a divorce. Third of all, according to some pictures, Miss Commonwealth is a stripper. Finally, fourth of all, apparently, rumor has it that you're gay, that you're sleeping with a boy from Grace Bay. Russia stopped dead in his tracks, staring daggers at Mongolia. When did this come out? He asked, refusing to remove his eyes. About 2 weeks ago. Want some boba? Tuva is picking some up, so she can grab you some. Oh my god, Mongolia. My life could literally get destroyed. It's hard to shut the rumors down here. And yes, I'd like some bubble tea. But my entire life, my reputation, they're going to bully me to suicide. Calm down, Ruski, Romania called from behind them, accompanied by another girl. And can Albania and I snag one as well? Of course. Thank you, the new girl replied, turning to Russia. I know you'll hate this, but you and I could start fake dating in order to push those rumors down. And don't think it's weird, please. I'm a full-ass lesbian. Why do the most strict schools produce the most homosexuals? A new voice asked, stepping into the conversation. OMG! Hey, Bulgaria! Hey, guys. But still, Russia, take the offer. But let your, friend know as well. Russia nodded and moved so he leaned against the wall, a heavy sigh leaving his mouth. He moved his hands over his face and forced any noises to be concealed, mainly his screams of annoyance. Would you like a boba? Of course. Tuva picking him up? You know her. Skipping school is her middle name. I wonder if she's seeing someone. Albania perked up, silencing the group in thought. Probably some guy that goes to Catherine Prep. They are them rich kids. She's definitely a gold digger. How else would she agree to buy 5 other people bobas? Someone is def giving her money. The gays need their refreshments, Romania added in, last leaving the rest of them, except Russia. None of you know who I'm dating, huh? He asked, looking up. Once everyone shook their head, he looked at the ceiling and mustered up all the courage to tell them. So, remember how there was this one guy who broke my ankle, Grace Bay Sr., class president? Him. I'm dating him. He is quite literally the only person, besides any of you, that doesn't even take advantage of my dad. He bought him a coffee when he visited me, and he helped me get some sleep. I'm rambling. Nah, bitch, we need more info on this guy. Is he tall? Rich? What is he? A dumbass, Russia joked, leaning his head back. He's the most caring man in the world, and my dad loves him. In fact, he kinda gave me a box of condoms the other day, so there's that. Immediately, the group burst into laughter, Mongolia falling onto his knees from it. Russia knew that each and every one of them has met his dad in some way, and he knew that none of them would have suspected his own father to give him a box of condoms when he just started dating a guy. Albania was even holding on to Romania, and just down the hall, a very confused girl walked over, her hands filled with drinks. Immediately, Russia recognized her as Tuba. He shot her a plead for help type of look, and she only smiled, obviously not intending on helping Russia. "What did you do?" she questioned, distributing the bubble tea amongst the group of laughing hyenas. "His dad gave him a box of condoms," Bulgaria explained, finally pulling himself together. "Drop that. Let me think of how else to describe him without making it weird." A long silence, actually just laughter starting to die down, passed before Russia spoke again. "He's the type of guy to focus on other people rather than himself, but will absolutely cuss out the teacher if they do something to him, which he's done. He is the one guy everyone wants to be friends with, and the ladies' guy. He is a jokester, but is basically abused at home. He was supposed to come here until he and his sister convinced his parents to send him to Grace Bay, but his two younger sisters actually attend Trinity, so they're coming here next." "Oh my god, Trinity School is such a short school," Mongolia butted in. "Those 13-year-olds who are about to graduate will literally rape or grope the little ones." "Apparently, it's already happening to his sisters, but his parents are turning a dead eye," Russia mumbled, looking down. "He's got 2 jobs, so he could treat his siblings to stuff and soon move out and take them with." "Can I meet him? Maybe, how much longer is the cast going to be on?" Russia chuckled lightly, shaking his head at Romania. "Less than a month," he replied. "I'm sure he'll be willing to meet all of you. He's a very social guy." "Opposites attract," Albania said, leaning onto Romania's shoulder. "Wait a minute," Tuva interrupted, all eyes turning onto her. "Explain to me how you all will dog on me about skipping class a lot when you are all skipping class right now. I am not listening to some boys complain about how and I quote, school of dick suckers and poor kids beat us in a football and a whole ass month ago. I'd rather eat 2 whole pineapples and 4 payas than sit with them any longer," Bulgaria argued. "You hate both those fruits to the point of throwing up. You should change them," Mongolia objected. "Maybe 64 bananas and 3 honeydew melons?" "Ew, those are ew," Bulgaria immediately uttered, shuddering. "The autism be wildin' in this man," Tuva said, taking a drink of her bubble tea. "You better be happy I got you coconut jelly. Now, get to class." "Mom, the instrument is using my autism against me." "Just because it's 1 letter away from tuba doesn't mean you can call me an instrument," she threatened, staring deep into the man. "If I could make eye contact, I'd be shitting myself." "Hey, I remember why we're skipping. None of us want to go to prayer." "Oh, right," Tuva nodded. "Say, who wants to shove Mongolia in a locker for making me blow my money?" "I'm just going to my next period then texting him," Russia replied, turning and hobbling away. "Oh, wait for me," Bulgaria added in, joining Russia's side. "See you never, losers," Romania said in farewell. "That is a joke," Albania quickly added in. Chapter 9, Midnight Shenanigans. You should let me suck your dick again, Russ, America jokingly whispered, sitting on his boyfriend's lap. Not in my house, dumbass. Belarus has her own room, and she'll wander in here if she hears anything. Russia shot back, flicking America's forehead. Well, actually, what time is it? 11, where's my phone? Here. 11:53. She's dead asleep then. My family are all deep sleepers. So that means... Russia grabbed the neck of America's shirt and pulled him in closer, bringing his other hand up to America's ass and gripping it tightly. America gasped quite loudly and buried his head into Russia's neck. I said suck your dick, not get fucked by your dick, he mumbled, gripping the back of Russia's shirt. Fine, Russia replied, kissing America quickly. Get down and suck. Russia moved America off his lap quickly and pushed his head down, a sly grin plastered on his face. America glared up at Russia and pulled down Russia's sweatpants and boxers, fixing his own position to be more comfortable as he did. Russia was hard already, probably because America was grinding on him earlier, but that did not slow America down at all. He quickly shot his head forward and licked Russia's dick slowly, causing Russia to release a lengthy, quiet moan. America wrapped his mouth around Russia's dick, slowly bobbing up and down, resting his hands on Russia's thighs. Fuck, America, Russia moaned lowly, brushing America's hair from his face. Oh, God. America quickened his pace, making it harder for Russia to keep quiet. The two kept at it for a bit until Russia came in America's mouth, America swallowing every drop of the cum. America was then pushed back onto the bed, being pinned down on the bed. He chuckled slightly before being cut off by Russia kissing him rather roughly. Babe, get off, America giggled, pushing against Russia. Why can't I give you a little pleasure, You gave me a favor. I should return it. How are you planning on doing that, huh? America shot back, thinking he would catch Russia off guard. He didn't. I'll jack you off, Russia replied cockily, leaning his face forward mere inches away from America's. Would you like that? Yes, please, Russia, America answered after a brief pause. I'd like that, actually. Russia nodded and kissed America, passionately this time, moving his hand to America's jeans and undoing the belt. That belt was useless, though. America preferred wearing tight jeans, therefore making the belt a mere obstacle for Russia to overcome. Once Russia got the belt undone and out of the way, he, as quickly as he could, unbuttoned and unzipped his jeans before slithering his open hand underneath America's back and lifting him up just enough to pull the jeans down and away. Fuck, Russ, let me help a bit, America argued, pushing Russia up a bit. It's my turn to help you. I'll do it, you relax, Russia replied, discarding America's jeans onto the floor, followed by his boxers. Russia pressed gentle kisses to America's thighs and waist, teasing America's hard dick. America moaned lightly each time Russia decided to take a bite or a more aggressive kiss on his lower body, not caring to protest the implementing of marks, which will definitely last a few days. A few hickeys wouldn't hurt. Nobody would be seeing them. Russia brought a hand up to America's stomach, pushing up the sweater he had on, uncovering his stomach. Russia began weaving kisses all over America's stomach and moved his hand from America's thigh to his dick, slowly beginning to pump it up and down. Russia, babe, was the last thing America remembers saying, the ecstasy taking over his mind quite quickly. As the next thing he remembers is waking up in Russia's arms, the other boy dead asleep. Russ? Russia was too gone in his slumber to be stirred by America, so America laid himself on top of the taller boy and grabbed his phone, looking at the time. He needed to know if he was going to bother going to school, since it was now Wednesday, and to his demise, it was only 6:58. His school started at 8:40, while Russia's started at 9:15. Babe, wake up. Please, I'm hungry, he grumbled, shaking the Russian's shoulders. Also, I need clothes. I wasn't supposed to sleep with you. Get off of me first, Russia finally answered, a happy squeak coming from America before relieving Russia of his weight. Go ahead and steal whatever from my closet, mister. I have no set uniform nor dress code. Thanks, babe, America chirped, leaning in and giving Russia a long, passionate kiss. Once he pulled back, Russia gave him a peck on the nose. America bounced off towards the closet, swinging the doors open. How about maybe one of your jeans and shirts, plus a jacket of yours? And maybe... Oh, can I wear these? America pulled out a jumble of clothes, which Russia promptly gave him permission to wear, causing America to giggle a bit, throwing the clothes on. Grab a belt, love. You'll actually need one. One of yours? Sure. Yippee! Okay, this one. I like this one. Looks great. Now help me out a bit, love, Russia mumbled, struggling to lift himself out of bed. America rushed over and helped Russia up, giving him a folded uniform as well, helping the taller change. After they were done, America pulled Russia up onto his foot and handed Russia his crutches, guiding the man downstairs. They were both immediately greeted by the sight of Russia's dad reading a book on his recliner seat, not noticing the two. Morning, Russ, Ukraine called from behind, squeezing past the two. Morning, Papa. Morning, America. Morning, America cheerfully replied, following the woman into the kitchen, hoping she would help him scout out food. He stayed the night, Soviet asked, not looking up from his book. Remember, Russ, I don't care. Just don't do anything that will leave a bad image on Bella, and use the condoms. Ah, thanks, Papa, Russia mumbled in response, dropping himself onto the couch. Is Bella still asleep? Why wouldn't she be? She's the most tired child ever. Much easier to raise than you or Yuki, Soviet responded with a chuckle, setting his book down to the side. America skipped over to Russia and practically sat on his lap, eating a Pop-Tart before Soviet spoke up again. America, you are always welcomed here. And don't think you can't dig through my kitchen. I'll let you cook, even. What? You won't even let me cook! Ukraine yelled in protest, crossing her arms where she stood in the kitchen. I doubt America will burn my house down. Da? Amerika остановлен. Ты слишком самороспен. I tried. I tried. The rough translation is, America is careful, you are too self-confident, and I absolutely butchered pronunciation. I am sorry. Soviet gently replied in response, keeping his voice low. Your sister is still sleeping. Yeah, it's 7:20. I'm going to a coffee shop before school with my friends. Bye! America leaned his head back into Russia's chest once Ukraine had left, and they said their goodbyes, closing his own eyes before he had to dreadfully leave himself. He didn't like leaving Russia. It made him feel alone. After spending a few days and nights with Russia at his house, America dreads the thought of even living in his house and enduring the abuse. Hell, Russia had seen the bruises and was able to see through America's lies of, "That happened during track practice." But he still endured it so he can help his siblings. His siblings, he loved every single one of them. Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Moose, koala, and kiwi. The nicknames they chose so they wouldn't have to hear their names their parents chose as they could have been. America himself was Porcupine, but he never used the nickname unless it was his younger siblings. Plus, Russia called him Love anyways. "Hey, Russ?" "Hmm?" "Thank you. Anything for you, love." Love. Chapter 10. Now They Know. America threw himself into the room, bracing himself against the door. Tears were streaming down his cheeks as he heard angry footsteps approach, immediately taking a dive under his bed. He covered himself with items already stored under there, trying his best to hide his sobs and wipe his tears away. "You fucking ungraceful disgrace of a son!" a voice yelled, slamming his door open. America's breath hitched. He found himself not breathing, tears falling more quickly. "Where the fuck did you go?" He heard his closet door yanked open, followed by clothes being thrown onto the floor. His dressers were being forced open as well. America knew his room would be such a mess, and he'd be expected to clean it, even if it was his father's doing. Suddenly, some of the items that he used to cover himself were yanked away. Yet, he himself was not. His father had failed to see him, but America could see him. And the mess. Once more, he screamed even more and slammed America's door shut after leaving. He shakily pulled out his phone out of his pocket and turned it on, searching for a specific contact. "Please pick up, please. Please pick up." He prayed quietly, not daring to move himself from under the bed. That would be a death wish, as his father was not done. "Da, hello?" "Russ, I'm so scared." "Medico, what's going on? Are you okay?" "He's going to kill me, Russ. He's going to kill." America's door was slammed open again. America slowly placing his phone on the floor, face down. He was barely able to hear Russia from the other side of the call, only focusing on his father. He knew where he was. He knew that. He bent down and grabbed America's leg, yanking him from underneath the bed, and grabbing him by the throat, holding him up. "I'm sorry!" America tried to plead, tears once again appearing. His father had no sympathy for him, throwing him back onto the ground and kicking him, placing his foot right in his stomach each time. America cried out, begging for him to stop and for forgiveness, but none of his pleas were heard, only him being slammed into the wall. "Dad, I'm sorry, please!" "You are a fucking disgrace to this family. You would be nothing without me." He then kicked America in the head, leaving as he was now satisfied. He slammed the door once more, leaving America only to sob. It hurt. Oh, how it hurt so bad. He held his head with one hand and his stomach with the other, throwing up anything he had in his system from the days prior, along with some blood, crying as he did so. He didn't even know what he did to get beat this time. All he could focus on was the pain. "I'm sorry," he repeatedly muttered, only not picking himself up from the puddle of tears, vomit, and blood that he created. He laid there on the cold wooden floor, hoping no one would see him in such an embarrassing state. He was hoping Canada, Aussie, and Kiwi wouldn't even dare enter his room to see him in the state. Their only brother, the only person who tried to protect them. He was more than embarrassed and scared. He was guilty. Guilty for something he didn't even know he did. Did they get a call from his school? Did they hear him talking about Russia one time? Slowly, he pushed himself up, taking a few steps towards the bed and collapsing again, sobbing loudly. He could barely even walk. He was hurting so much. He tried to crawl, but he could barely even move his legs, collapsing onto the floor once more. He was now looking under his bed, as naturally, that's where his eyes were looking, but then he noticed something. His phone. He never hung up, did he? Russia? He muttered, slowly yet surely pushing himself to the phone. I'm sorry. He managed to grab the phone and pull it to him, immediately pulling himself onto the bed with a loud groan. He looked at his phone and noticed he was indeed still on call with Russia, so he put his phone to his ear. Can you come get me? It hurts. Papa and I are on the way right now. Would you like me to sneak in through your window? Yeah, it hurts so much. Are you still in danger? That you're whispering still? I can barely understand you. I don't know where they are. Russia talked calmly and tried his best to soothe America over the phone. America not even paying attention anymore. The pain was taking him over, spreading from his head and his stomach to everywhere else. It hurt to move his arms or his legs. It hurt to answer Russia. It hurt to breathe. He just decided to stop answering Russia, taking short and shallow breaths, which could definitely be heard by the Russian. He was in so much pain. He wanted to do nothing but cry. Suddenly, his window was slowly pushed open, a large man entering the room. It was Soviet, and he immediately went to America. He slowly wrapped his arms around America, as he needed them to be, pulling him into his chest and grabbing America's phone, putting it in his pocket. Is there anything else you need? He calmly asked. America merely nodded. Bear. He breathed out, wanting Soviet to grab the stuffed bear on his bed. Thankfully, Soviet did, placing it on America, moving his arm to hold the bear there. It was a rather large Rilakkuma plush, one of few large pricey things his teammates got him after he placed first in the state for individuals and across the country. It was the only item that wasn't food or something perishable that he received, his parents not even getting him anything. Soviet slowly climbed out of the window again, shutting it quietly before walking off with America held in his arms tightly. America leaned his head onto the man, groaning with each step he took as his body hurt, America actively fighting tears. Once they got to Soviet's car, he opened the back doors and laid him in the seat, his head meeting Russia's lap. Russia, was all he mustered out, closing his eyes once the car door was closed. He looks like absolute shit. Holy fuck, a girl said from up front, America quickly recognizing her as Ukraine. Dad, we need to go to the hospital. Don't worry, we're going there, he replied, closing his car door and turning the car back on. Just make sure Bella doesn't wake up, he said, turning the car back onto the street and driving away. America groaned as he tried to reposition himself, a soft cry leaving him as he dropped the bear plush. But it was quickly given back to him by Russia. Russia was rubbing America's shoulders and whispering to him in his native tongue, calming America to the best of his abilities. I'm a disgrace, America mumbled, recalling each and every word his father screamed at him. He was spacing out from reality, trying to find a new reality where his head could hide, failing to hear his boyfriend console him. I'm an ungrateful shit. I'm nothing without him. I need him. He mumbled, no longer in his awfully quiet whisper. I need to be perfect. I need to honor the family. America glanced outside of the window at the tall building they had driven to. The car was opened again, and America was gently pulled out, back into Soviet's arms. Russia had left the car himself, using only one crutch as his cast was to be removed that week. Ukraine and Belarus had also left the car, Belarus holding America's bear now. They all quickly and quietly entered the hospital, immediately getting America checked in and into a hospital bed. Nurses and doctors examining his body. They had stripped off all of his clothing, minus his underwear, leaving him freezing cold on a bed with only people he didn't know around him. Not even Russia was in the room with him. He's got internal bleeding. We need to do a quick surgery and stop it. Immediately do an MRI on his head. There is sustained trauma to the area as well. A doctor instructed. America was now being pulled away and sent to sleep. He just wanted Russia. He wanted to be held by him again. He wanted his bear. Oh, how he loved that bear. He saw how Belarus was crying. He wanted to be able to comfort her. He wanted to be able to thank Soviet for taking him to the hospital and carrying him. America was not the lightest. Russia. Chapter 11. Change of Homes. America begrudgingly opened his eyes, squinting immediately as the room was brighter than a millionaire's gold pile. He slowly adjusted to the light and turned his head, noticing he was alone in the room. Sadness was now overcoming him, tears pricking the bottom of his eyes. He was sure he'd wake up with Russia next to him, but he didn't even have his blush bare. He raised his hands to cover his face, letting tears fall. He was alone. He was always alone. He always felt alone, despite his popularity. He never felt like he had any true friends, or people near him until he met Russia, and Russia wasn't even with him. Russia was nowhere near, probably back at home, not even thinking of America. Oh, Mary. America slowly looked up, only to realize he was imagining Russia's voice. He was fucking pathetic. He slid himself back onto the bed and under the covers, sobbing quietly. He was imagining Russia comforting him. He was imagining Russia pulling him into a hug. He was imagining Russia kissing his forehead like he always did, brushing his hair out of the way. Yet here America was, crying his heart out quietly as he could, hidden under the hospital blankets, imagining that Russia was giving him the hat he needs rather than picking up the phone and calling him. He imagined Russia pulling the blanket from over him and lifting his face up, kissing his lips and wiping tears away as he did so. America's eyes fluttered open, only to notice it was not a figment of America's pathetic dreams anymore. Russia was actually there. Russia was looking at him with a sorrow-filled face. America only being able to look down and resist more tears, guilt hanging over him now. He tried to talk, but his mouth refused to move, no sound daring to come from his throat. May, what's happened? Are you still hurting? I can get the doctors to give you more pain medication. I thought you left me, America whispered back, too embarrassed to even talk normally. I thought I'd have to go back home. I don't want to go back home. Home is scary. Home hurts me. It's not your home, a new voice interrupted, his voice also low. It was never your home, nor your siblings. America slowly looked up to Soviet, fighting the tears back even more now, as he was wrapped in his arms, Russia still holding America's hand. Although America had no clue as to what Soviet was hinting at with his words, he still enjoyed them before fully grasping the last few words. "My sisters!" he yelled, pushing himself up and out of the hug, seemingly about to leave the bed. "They aren't safe. I need to protect them." "They're all with Ukraine and Belarus at home," Soviet calmly answered. "The police let me take them." The police? You called the police? "If you're worried about school, I'm not transferring any of you. If you're worried about your parents, I will kill them myself if I ever see them," Soviet replied, trying to comfort America. "The police didn't believe me last time. They said I was lying and a waste of their time," America mumbled, curling himself into a ball. "That's why I have to protect my sisters. The police won't believe us." Except Ukraine and Russia were able to record the phone call. You never hung up. Russia heard everything, along with Ukraine and I hearing most of it. Ukraine also snuck back into your room and got pictures before the room was cleaned, so the police wouldn't have any evidence, which they did do. We got evidence for you, dear. America nodded, pulling Russia's hand closer to him, holding it against his face. Russia laughed and pulled America up, holding him in his arms before sitting on the bed. America wrapped himself tightly around his boyfriend, digging his head into his chest, finally allowing the tears to fall again. He let out a sob louder this time, finally getting the comfort from Russia he wanted. He also knew his sisters were safe. That was a relief. Whatever he did in his life was to keep them safe. It worked. "Get some rest. We're going to check you out of here," Soviet said, standing up. The sound of fading footsteps followed, America closing his eyes once he finally let each tear leave. He loosened his grip on Russia and was being pampered with plenty of kisses from him. It was nice. It was what he always wanted, really. Now he was asleep, but he vaguely remembers being carried to the car again. Again, he was laying on Russia the entire trip. Nothing but joy inside. He was finally happy. He had finally succeeded in each thing he pledged to do. Chapter 12. Masking Happiness. America stood in front of his parents with his head down, refusing to look at them. Embarrassment and fear struck within him. They had quickly been released from custody. The police loved them. And now they were standing face to face with America after he tried to grab his younger sister's toys so that they wouldn't be without them. They were yelling. That's what they were always doing. Always yelling at him. Only they weren't beating him. Only yelling and screaming. He was holding New Zealand's plush kiwi and Australia's plush kangaroo tight in his hands, holding back from hurling them at their faces. Yet here he was, as if nothing had ever changed. "If my daughters are not back in my home in 24 hours, the police will arrest you for kidnapping!" Fritz screamed, throwing an apple at America, striking him in the head. "I do not care if your ass stays with that boyfriend of yours. My daughters will not be subjected to your satanic abuse." America was fighting tears, feeling warmth swell a bit on his head. She broke a stitch, that's for sure. America only nodded and quickly left, rushing himself back to Ukraine's car, which was just down the street. Once he got in, he placed his backpack and the two plush animals in the back before taking the shotgun seat, facing Ukraine. "They're home, she asked, a worried look on her face. "You know they broke some stitches." "Yeah, I'll be fine. I just want Russia." "What did they say?"
Ukraine asked, driving away. I have 24 hours to give my sisters back up to them, or I'm being arrested for kidnapping. They don't want me back. They called me names. The rest of the ride was quiet as Ukraine was unable to find something to say in return, having nothing but sympathy for America. She did grab a few napkins lying around and gave them to America, him holding it up to his now bleeding head. When they returned to her house, Ukraine guided America inside before seating him on the couch, yelling for her dad.
They broke a few stitches!
Who broke a few stitches? Now, Russia, Canada, and Soviet were all surrounding America with Ukraine, trying to get words out of America over what happened. America couldn't speak, however, only contemplating his few options. They never abused Canada, only him. They never touched any of their daughters, only him. America rested his head on Russia's arm, a small smile forming on his face. They want my sisters back, that's all. They said I can stay, but not them. Can you believe that, Russ? They never wanted me. They'll most likely press charges, and America will not last a single minute in jail, Canada muttered, pressing a damp cloth to America's head. I can't have my brother go to jail, or my sisters go back. None of us can. We're packing everything we need and leaving before the authorities find us, Soviet announced. This way, they'll never be able to take you three, and I'll stay here to fight the charges. Papa, do you really want to do that? Russia asked, rubbing America's shoulder. It's the only option there is. Time passed on, and now America was in a whole new city, laying on Russia, whilst the two cuddled on a hotel bed. They were to go to Russia's grandfather's house, and an even further city, but they had to stop for the night. It was strange, as only America and Russia lie awake, all the girls fast asleep. They stayed silent as Russia massaged America's back, occasionally kissing his forehead in hopes to reassure him. It never worked. America always had problems with anxiety. What if the police find us? America muttered, finally breaking the silence. We're going to leave 5 cities away from them, and it's a whole new jurisdiction for law enforcement, Russia explained. These cops are more likely to be way more professional and understand that it's an abuse case. Russia, I'm scared. I know. Deep breaths, America. Just know I'll be right here and fight anyone off. I talked to Dad, and he said I can get my cast off at the hospital there, too. There's going to be a manhunt for us. Let's get some sleep, da? Stop pushing my fucking thoughts away. You're overthinking, my dear. You need to rest your brain. It's a long drive tomorrow. Russ, they are asleep. We can talk tomorrow when we get to bed, okay? Please get some rest. You desperately need it. You didn't sleep well last night, nor the night before. Just try to get some tonight. America decided against arguing with Russia and just grabbed his bear plush, pulling it into his arms as he slid into Russia's arms and rested his head on his chest. Russia kissed America's forehead once more, thanking him as well. However, America was not sleeping, rather just keeping silent once again. He waited until he knew Russia was asleep to get up and walk outside, leaving the hotel for some air. I'll text Coach tomorrow and let him know I'm still going to compete in the championship meet tomorrow, he muttered to himself, sitting on the curb. It's supposed to be in Arlington. That's 30 minutes away from where Russia's grandpa lives. He pulled out his phone and noticed he had 40-plus texts from over 20 people who were asking if he was okay and where he was. He noticed Germany had tried to call him, and knowing him, he called back.
America, are you okay? Where the fuck are you?
Germany immediately answered, more voices able to be heard in the background. America figured it was just his girlfriend and their families, but he was proven wrong immediately before he could even answer.
America! Oh my god, you're alive!
It was Brazil, and he sounded the utmost relieved. I'm in Wellingstock. My parents kicked me out, and I took my sisters with me, so we're running from the police.
Bro, you can't be doing that when you have a championship in 3 days and nobody else with you.
My boyfriend and his 2 sisters are with us. We're not completely alone. Plus, I'll be 30 minutes away from the school the meet'll take place at, so I'll meet you there, hopefully.
You missed it. Brazil got caught making out in the halls because he was skipping. And Spain and Belgium both started a fight with the new economics teacher. He's an absolute douche. Not at all a good replacement for the old guy you got fired. Well, he would have quit if I actually showed up to school,
America joked, leaning backwards onto the ground. How's Poland? She's been worried sick over you. You were her first friend. I can't blame her. I finally got her to eat and sleep not too long ago, but the rest of us have been staying up. I meant the other thing, Germs. You know that. Ah, right, sorry. We've calculated that when we graduated next month, she won't be showing any sign of pregnancy. Oh, and we finally told our parents, and they were just the most delighted old folks in this planet. I'm proud of you, man. Say, how's the thought of being a dad coming along? It's scary, but we both got accepted into the same college, and since they don't have a women's football, she got an academic scholarship, so there's no need for her thoughts on having to drop. That's a better relief, because now I can help her raise our child. And yeah, I get to be a dad. And I should get practice now, You should definitely be practicing, Germs. Yeah, I know. Speaking of which, go to bed, America. You don't sleep when you're stressed, and maybe if you just try to sleep with that boyfriend of yours, you'll actually fall asleep. I'll try, I promise. Thank you. Good night. You all get some sleep as well. America mumbled, slowly standing up. We will. Good night. The phone line was quiet after the two hung up, America taking a few deep breaths. He slowly returned to the room and the bed he was sharing with Russia and climbed into bed. He placed himself back into Russia's arms and closed his eyes. Please don't wander off again. We're still supposed to be in hiding. Russia whispered. He kissed America's forehead and pulled America closer to him. Sorry. You will always be forgiven.
Chapter 13. Competition awaits.
America stared out the window as the car entered the neighborhood. His sisters and Belarus were all sitting behind him. He was sitting up front next to Russia and Ukraine, the car having a jump seat in the middle, which they put Russia in. He could tell that everyone else was relieved to finally be able to sleep in a comfortable bed, especially with the grand size of all these houses. America, on the other hand, was terrified. What if he went to his cross-country meet and he was ambushed by the police? What if him and Russia broke up here and they were forced to still live with each other? Apparently, Dad lives here at the very end, Ukraine muttered out, obviously observing both the road and the houses. Jesus Christ.
That's a bad word,
Kiwi suddenly chirped, calling Ukraine out. I'm an adult, basically. Don't worry. Bad word! Holy, is that one at the very end his? What's the numbers? 45490. America read out. That's his. Whoa! Mansion! Kiwi was most definitely correct, as the large gated house came face to face with them. A large driveway wide enough for 20 cars, 3 damn stories. It was definitely a mansion, if not a castle. A man stood on the grass next to the entrance, him looking all too much like Soviet and his children. A large smile on his face and a cup of coffee in his hands. It was 8:30 after all. He politely waved at the car of children and walked up to the driveway. Ukraine followed him up, her mouth slightly agape. You look like you've just seen the biggest pair of tits ever, Russia whispered jokingly, immediately causing Ukraine to elbow him harshly. Once they got out of the car, he finally spoke, a thick accent accompanying his words. It's nice to see you 3 again, and even more lovely to meet you 4, he said, a large smile present. I do understand that you have a competition at 3:45, is that correct? I'll let you borrow one of my cars. Don't worry, let me show you to your rooms. He led them all upstairs and sent them their ways, letting America and Russia sleep in the same room. It seemed to be a family dynamic of the Slavs to allow the dating and immature children to sleep together. America didn't understand it. You and I can both fuck on this bed and sleep without worrying about changing sheets, Russia joked, laying on the king-sized bed. Do you want to talk now? Yes, please. Go ahead, I'm listening, Russia said, patting the bed next to him. America climbed into the bed and rested himself next to Russia, his head being supported by Russia's arm. He curled himself up and held onto Russia's other hand, which laid across the man, providing America with the comfort he needed. I'm so fucking scared, Russ. What if I'm doing my 3-mile-long run and the police ambush me? Or I get hurt and have to go to the hospital and the police take me? Or what if they prevent me from competing at all? I got us as a team and as an individual to the final and biggest championship in the world. Russia was fighting every urge to get up and hobble to America, pushing him into the bed and forcing sleep onto him. Keep going, I'm listening. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you wake me up in 2 hours? I think I need to sleep. Definitely. Come here, Russia mumbled in response. America crawled up to where Russia was and laid down, holding his arm and hiding his face. America always struggled with anger. It was one of the reasons none of his relationships worked. America slowly willed himself to sleep, Russia rubbing his shoulder. He whispered softly in his native tongue into America's ear, occasionally pecking a kiss onto his forehead. Finally, America was at his competition. He stood there, standing in the uniform he hasn't worn in over a week. Spain and Brazil were standing by his side, scoping out the competition. There, that small fella from Starling Lake, see him? Brazil pointed, waiting for both other men to notice him. His name's Israel. He's a fucking powerhouse. His run is a 16:21 for the 3-mile. He's your biggest competitor from the Central Division. We're Eastern, There's someone from St. Victoria, Spain pointed out. His name is Mongolia. His 3-mile time is 17:25. Yours is 17:38. I know him. I beat him once and once only, America mumbled. I haven't been practicing as much as I should have, though. Use your anxiety to your benefit. You'll find a way. Over there, from the Ocean Division, is Philippines. His time is 16:17. Basically, I need to do 3 miles in 5 minutes if I want any chance of beating them. Yep. Wait, who the hell is that skinny kid with the Western Division? Oh shit, him. He's South Africa. His time is 16:02. He's literally a prodigy. I'm fucking losing. Suddenly, America made eye contact with the man from St. Victoria, causing the other man to walk over to him. America bit down on his nervousness, smiling gently as to not seem too much like a bitch. You're America. That's me. You're Mongolia? Yep, Russia's best friend. He's told us about you, called you a dumbass, and the most amazing man in his life. Oh, I'm going to assume you're pretty chill then. I just wanted to say congratulations and meet you to see if it was really you. If you get surrounded by a group of us, just know we're either Russia's closest friends or his toxic-ass fan base. I'll keep that in mind. Hey, Brazil interjected. You both need to get a time under 16 minutes. Just PR. This horrid competition, and you both should place top 10 at least. Pray Russia's good at massages. Mongolia laughed. The cramps and soreness after this race will be insane. Ukraine should know if he doesn't. I hope. We are staying with his rich-ass grandpa. 30 minutes out, though. Maybe he'll buy something to teach Russia. All competitors, make your way to the starting line now. After some last-second strategies, America and Mongolia took their places at the end of the group of runners. They were both competing in the same division, so they decided they'd stick together with each other through the ruck, giving each other motivation if they needed it. When the race finally commenced, they kept a steady pace near the back, waiting for people to start dropping like flies. They quickly began passing people halfway through, slowly increasing their speed as they ran through the forest. Soon they were with the top 3 runners: Israel, Philippines, and South Africa. America and Mongolia were able to pass the first 2, but not South Africa. They were nearing the end and had yet to close the space between them and South Africa. Book it, Mongolia breathed out, rocketing himself forward at a speed impossible to maintain. America quickly followed, extending his stride and quickening his pace. He and Mongolia finally overtook South Africa, and the finish line came into view, sending them both into a faster run. America felt his cramps forming in his legs, while Mongolia felt his breath disappear. But they continued. Just before they crossed the line, Mongolia slowed down, allowing America to win. Now there the two were, on the ground next to each other, breathing as heavily as possible. America had a huge smile on his face. Mongolia's not as large. The two had finished top 2 with America winning, the biggest accomplishment for the two. What do you think we got? Definitely PR'd, that's all I know. The two now sat with each other and a group of people under a large oak tree for shade while the competition kept going. America, Brazil, and Spain were almost outcasts from the St. Victoria kids, if it weren't for the fact that they were all Russia's friends, and were trusted with the secret of their relationship. No, because we were all skipping prayer, and Russia tells us that his dad bought him a box of condoms. If you've ever met his dad, that was the most unlikely thing he's ever done. Have you guys used them yet? A girl asked. Romania! Nah, we, just started dating. I like to wait at least a few months of knowing someone before we get that deep. America responded. You've literally sucked his dick the first night you were together. Spain interjected, calling America out on his bullshit. I said that deep, as in my ass getting fucking destroyed, Spain. My ass has yet to be destroyed. What a slacker, a different girl mumbled. Russia really pushes things off, Speaking of which, he's not coming at all? Oh, okay, so Russ might have told you about my family situation, but in case he hasn't, it's abusive. Basically, my dad beat me enough to land me in the hospital, so his dad got my parents arrested, though it didn't last long. But also took my sisters into shelter, and then they, my parents, told me I would be charged with kidnapping if I didn't bring my sisters back, but they didn't care about me. Russia's dad sent us to his dad, so if Russia was here, it would be very bad since we're both basically wanted by the police back at home. Yeah, but they suck ass. Do you think they'd even care to listen? Let's hope not. They talked for a little longer until America got his first place medals and trophy, and then got driven home by Brazil, who rode with Spain, so he still had a ride back. America quickly showed off his achievements and ran upstairs to Russia, showing it off to him as well, telling him how it went. So, Mongolia and I both PR'd. I got 1547. He got 1552. Isn't that cool? Oh, and I got to meet some of your friends. They were so cool. Like, we joked about the box of condoms. Oh my god, did Tuva bring that up? Yeah. What happened after that? Romania asked if we ever used them. She's super funny. Well, we can use them, can't we? You brought them. Why? You want to use them? Where are they? My backpack. America found the box and tossed them over to Russia, locking the door and turning around. He made his way over to Russia, stripping himself in the process, before climbing onto the bed and kissing Russia deeply. Russia snaked his hands down to America's back, to his ass, gripping it tightly. Russia had already stripped, so America took the condom and placed it on his boyfriend's hard cock, spitting on it and rubbing him to lube him up. America aligned himself with Russia's dick, pushing himself down with a muffled moan. Russia moved America up and down, observing America's body. Being horny little teenage boys, they both weren't lasting long at all. Maybe 10 minutes later, America came all over Russia's chest, and Russia came into the condom. They both only laughed after, Russia kissing America sporadically across the face. You should get some rest, Russia mumbled with a kiss. Don't leave me then. I won't, I promise. Chapter 14. Too Close to the Sun. Sirens. That's all Russia heard. The sirens. Sirens, ever so loud, approaching the house. He had finally gotten his cast off and was rushing to hide everyone and himself. His dad was helping as well. Russia, keep them all quiet, he whispered, shutting the door. It was a hidden room, locked behind his library bookcase. Well, rather, it was a staircase that led to a secret room under the foundation. Rich people shit. That's what America called it. Russia carefully treaded down the staircase, it being narrow and winding, uneven step lengths threatening to push Russia into a wall and down the stairs. He managed to reach the bottom without dying and looked around the room, noting the group of the youngest laying and sleeping on a couch with Canada and Ukraine sitting by them. America awkwardly sitting in a corner. Russia walked over to him and sat down next to America, immediately getting roped into a tight hug. I'm sorry, America whispered. I didn't want this to happen. I didn't mean it to. Russia laid his head on America's shoulder, kissing the other's neck delicately. He was unable to verbally comfort him, his own nerves on the end as well, so he opted to physically comfort. He knew America could not allow himself to be forgiven. He'll always carry the guilt deep within, but a little comfort right now would go a long ways. America softly cried into Russia, not wanting to alert the others and keep this moment between him and Russia. Russia kissed America on the cheek and whispered into his ear, although it was in Russian, so there was no chance America could understand it. I'm getting your family arrested, I'm putting us all into holding, and it's all because I have a big mouth and I decided to fuck you. America mumbled, tears streaming down his face. This was a mistake. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have dated you. Now you're in danger. Ukraine, my dad, my grandfather, and I are all willing to do this, no matter what. And I'm sure Bella might be too young to fully understand, but she made friends and she loves you, and she would follow you around if she could. You couldn't control whether you were abused or not, whether your sisters would be in danger or not. It's all fine, don't worry. You don't get it. This wouldn't have happened if I just dropped you off at the hospital, if I didn't think I had to be nice. America yelled, catching the attention of the others. Russia tried to quiet him purely for the fact that they could get caught, but America persisted. If I didn't stay with you that night, or if I didn't just try to hop the fucking fence, everything would be better. America, you're going to get us caught, Canada harshly whispered, Ukraine jumping up and running up the staircase to check the entrance to ensure they were safe. It's all my fault. It would have just been easier if I killed them, not take their daughters and run. But now we're here, and we need to think of solutions for the present rather than the past, Russia replied, pulling America into a hug again. Why don't you take a nap and cool down? We can talk about this later. It's my fault, America mumbled again, wrapping his arms and legs around Russia. You don't believe that. Don't force yourself to. America continued to mumble incoherent words and sentences before he finally drifted to sleep, Russia rubbing his back as it happened. Ukraine soon reappeared, coming back downstairs carefully, nodding once she was fully down. The police are searching the premises. We need to stay put. The group then fell quiet for the next few hours. The younger ones of the group fell asleep, and Canada and Ukraine chatted amongst themselves, leaving Russia to hold America as he slept. It was a long few hours, Russia almost falling asleep multiple times himself, but he decided to stay awake. Finally, Russian Empire had appeared on the stairs, giving the all clear. However, he did not head back up, instead walking back to where Russia sat, crouching down. Is he asleep or just resting his eyes? Asleep, Russia replied. I heard him screaming. The police did not. He is very lucky. I'm scared he'll run again and turn himself in. Fear does many things to a person, and for every person a new thing is most prevalent. When in fear, I could hide. You could run. He could try. All the while, your sister Ukraine could find refuge, and Bella could sleep the fear away. America, however, has many approaches to fear. He seems to rotate through them because his brain tries to find one that will benefit everyone rather than save himself. He chose to smuggle his sisters out of his parents' grasp, but didn't think to call federal authorities rather than local authorities. Funny how it works, He is unique, and he'll do whatever he thinks will benefit everyone, even if it doesn't benefit himself. Dad, what if he gets hurt? Rosia, my dear, everyone gets hurt. It's a question of how he'll recover from it, whether he gets the proper treatment. You can get broken up with and go to a surgeon. It makes more sense to go to family, friends, or a therapist. But if you accidentally lose a finger, you can't go to a dentist just because they know how to put teeth back. You need to go to the emergency room and see the nurses and doctors who will help you there. Do you see, if he seeks the right treatment, whether that be you, his friends, or a hospital, he'll be fine. He's got the brain to do so as well. It is nothing to fret about. Here, let's get up and get him onto the couch upstairs. When he wakes up, we will have dinner. Da?
Spasiba, Dad. Разберися.
That roughly translates to, let's sort it out.
Russia slowly got up with the older man's help and picked America up. The smaller boy practically latching himself onto Russia. The two slowly made their way upstairs after Russian Empire picked up a sleeping New Zealand and the two Russians and carried them upstairs, laying them on the couches of his large family room, where the others were. What are we doing for dinner, Dad? Oh, I'm thinking of making porizoki for dinner with honey kvass to drink and berry marozhene for dessert. How's that sound? Marozhene! Belarus screamed, waking up the previously sleeping New Zealand. It's ice cream. Bella loves her sweets, Ukraine explained to a confused Canada, who only nodded. I think you'll like the dinner, and kvass is basically children's beer. Is it safe for kids to drink? Oh, absolutely. Don't fret, dear. I can get you something else if you don't want it. Russian Empire said, sitting down in an armchair. I'd love to try it. I'm just more concerned about my sisters, but they'll eat or drink anything. Living in our house has its benefits, I guess. Don't be afraid to ask for anything or say you don't like anything here. Some things are of an acquired taste. Like caviar, Russia jumped in. I think it's nasty, but Yuki, Bella, and Papa will eat it. What's caviar? Canada asked, a bit flustered. Salmon eggs. Tiny little pearls. You see, Aunt Yukata didn't mind the taste, but the feeling of it always threw it off, and she couldn't eat it. Ew, America mumbled, picking himself up and rubbing his eyes. Is it slimy too? It can be, yes. Count me out. The group laughed at his reaction, Russia looking at America with an amused look. Once the group started talking again, Russia grabbed America's hand and placed a kiss on the back of it, before pulling America into a kiss. Are you feeling all right? He whispered. Better, but I wouldn't say great. Thank you for caring about me. I would care for you in every universe, even if we both looked different and had different needs. I would not give these moments up for anything, and will continue to love and care for you until we've both been in our graves for long enough to be in the afterlife together. Since when were you a romantic? Since I met you. Cheesy ass. I love you. I love you too. Chapter 15. Safe and Sound. Mary, did you hear? Mr. Russian Empire spoke to the police about us, and they are suspending their search on us. We're safe here. America looked up from where his head laid on Russia's lap to look at his sister, a wide-eyed grin on her face. At least the police here could listen. Now you can go outside and get some sun, Ukraine muttered, falling onto the couch face first. I miss Ty. I hope she's doing okay. Is that your girlfriend? I wish.
She's just my best friend. America picked up his phone and looked through the various notifications he had, reading until a few in particular messages caught his eye. Germany sent a link. You need to read it. Now. Like, your life depends on it. We're here to help. America opened the message and noticed the link was to a news story. He opened it, bracing himself for what he would read. However, America could not get past the headline. High school cross-country star kidnapped 3 sisters to sell in trafficking scheme, according to parents. Nada, can you read this for me? I can't. Sure thing. What is it? Canada took the phone from her brother and read the headline, her face losing color immediately. That's funny. Trafficking scheme, eh? Oh man, we have the funniest parents ever, don't you know? Ukraine took the phone from Canada and began reading it, slowly looking up at America and Russia after a few quick seconds. Russia caught her eye and nodded, non-verbally telling her to read the article. A week ago, highly esteemed cross-country star America Taylor, 18, claimed false abuse allegations against his parents and took his 3 sisters, 17, 7, and 5, away while his parents spent the night in jail. The names of the daughters are withheld for privacy reasons. Britton Taylor, 49, the father, says that he warned his son that if his daughters weren't returned within 24 hours, that charges would be filed. However, he and his wife, France Taylor, 35, filed charges after 6 hours when they caught wind that their own son had left town. Recently, America Taylor has participated in World Cross Country Championship meet in Arlington, even placing first, and is suspected to be within an hour of the school. Police in Macefield have recently announced that they are calling off the search of the suspect, stating he was not at any location he'd be in, but they would help in an investigation into the abuse allegations. America Taylor is reportedly working alongside another male named Russia Moskvo, 18, and his sister Ukraine Moskova, 16. They have helped him escape the city of Grace Bay and are allegedly trafficking their sister, 4, name withheld for privacy reasons. Father of the 3 has been arrested and identified as Soviet Morozkov, 48, and has been charged with aiding in criminal activity, human trafficking, kidnapping, child abuse, child endangerment, perjury, and defamation. Soviet Morozov is also under investigation but not charged for statutory rape, harassment, hate crimes, and aggravated assault. America Taylor, Russia Morozov, Ukraine Morozova are considered armed and dangerous and should not be approached by the public. Rather, call the emergency number of your city if you suspect someone to be the 3 named teenager or the 4 unnamed traffic girls. If you have any questions or tips, Grace Bay Police Department will take your call at this number or will respond to your email at gracebaypd@outlook.com. This is a developing story and will be updated when more information is released. Oh, holy shit. America fought his tears as hard as he could, guilt consuming him. His boyfriend and sister were now suspects. His hopefully future father-in-law was arrested and shackled with a heap of crimes. He was armed and dangerous, apparently, yet he couldn't stab anyone with a knife if he was told to at gunpoint. America was skinny, like most runners, and he was short. He could not even overpower Ukraine or Canada if he tried. He was the shortest person on his team. Now he was a suspect in not a kidnapping, but a human trafficking case? Russia, America mumbled, tears fighting at the surface and winning. Russia, he mumbled again, not even knowing he was calling his boyfriend's name in a whisper. Russia. America was alone now. He was alone in nowhere. It was just him. Just him sitting in a dark, empty box. The box didn't squish him. It was very spacious. Maybe there were no walls. He couldn't tell through the tears. He sobbed as loudly as he could, screaming for Russia to forgive him. He didn't want Russia. He wanted Russia to forgive him, to be safe. He wanted Russia to break up with him so he could escape the mess he created, all because he decided to call him and not hang up. America cursed himself, wishing he did just die on that floor. He cursed himself for calling Russia. He cursed himself for not giving his sisters back. He cursed himself for being the failure the world decided it needed. The failure that puts everyone on the podium, everyone but him. He was last in everything. Everything that mattered. He was the worst in everything too. Never once being good at anything. He hated that he was born a man. He wished he was a woman. He wished he could experience his parents' love, but he failed the minute his parents conceived him. He was a failure from the start. That's all America was. That's why his parents let him easily go to Grace Bay, but not Canada. That's why he had to buy his own shit. That's why he was told to help put another team down so his school's football team could get to the championship and take their Christian rivals out. Guess what? He was supposed to seduce them and not break his fucking ankle. He was supposed to chit-chat, distract the captain. Instead, he fucking tripped and fucked the guy's ankle, landing him in the hospital. America understood now. He never did anything right. He always fucked up. If he gave his sisters back, cleared Russia, Ukraine, and Mr. Soviet's name, maybe he could do something right for once. He would take the most likely life or death sentence. That would be the next thing on the list he's done correctly. He'd have 2 things correct, and maybe his parents would love him. Just for a day. Just a day. It's all he wants. A day. A single day. Even a single minute would suffice. America continued to sob, promising that he'd be good from now on. He'd stop he'd stop having an eating disorder, anxiety, and depression. Those weren't normal. They were illnesses that only the Lord could fix. He needed to repent, and he'd do it no matter what. He'd repent on death row, the electrocution chair, in prison, in hell. He has to repent, 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 repent. He cried for forgiveness from the Lord, begged him to be fixed. He needed to be fixed. That would make everyone proud of him. He could finally be normal. That's all he wanted. Fixed and normal were 2 words he screamed the most, begging and begging. Suddenly, the box started shaking him with. America panicked, not knowing what was going on. Was the Lord fixing him? Was he being sent to hell? Was he dead? Dying? Oh, he'd love to die. It would be another thing he could use to cheer his parents for once. Their disgrace of a son, the thing they were forced to call their son, finally dead after 18 dreadful years. America began to dissociate. When is he going to get his hair redone? Did Russia ever love him, or just the fact that he could have sex with him? He annoyed everyone all the time, didn't he? Ghosting people and constantly venting. They had to be sick of him. How long would he survive in a forest? Why was his mom 17 when she had him, but his dad 31? Why was America like this? Why was America? America. Why couldn't he have just been someone like Brazil or Germany or Poland? Why couldn't he be like Russia or Mongolia or Romania? Why couldn't he be as good as South Africa or Israel or Philippines? Those cross-country legends who are much better than America. Everyone was better than America. Why did he have to be so shit? Why did he take everyone's worst qualities and merge it into him? Why was he that? Why was he even alive? Why did he not just kill himself yet? Why? Russia, I'm sorry. You should know. You have to break up with me right now. We can't do this. I can't do this. I'm not ready. I'm breaking up with you. We were meant to be rivals. I've played hockey against you. Let's stay that way forever. America? I would like you to take my sisters home, all three of them. Tell the police I'm in Arlington, that your dad is innocent, and that it was an inside job. I'm leaving. America, wake up, please. We can't be together anymore. I'll drag you down to hell with me. Go find a nice woman. She'll love you and take you to heaven. People like me, who are disappointments to everyone, deserve to rot in hell for eternity. Ukraine! He's not waking up! Russia, you deserve so much better. The Lord will guide you. That's what Mama and Papa always said. That the Lord will guide everyone but people like me. You aren't like me. You're perfect compared to me. Of course, nobody is perfect, but the Lord will still love you and guide you. It's been 3 days. I don't want him to die. He can't die. I want Papa. Trust the Lord, Russia. My death will be a cleanse to the world. America! Chapter 16, Newspapers. Dad's been found guilty of child abuse and neglect. Mr. Soviet has custody of Australia and New Zealand now, Mary. Russia watched as Canada gave an update to America. She did this every week now. This time was not an exception. We won, America. We won. Oh, Poland gave birth to a daughter yesterday. Named her Mary after you. She's got her son and daughter with Germany. Brazil got a contact at a high-prestige football club on the other side of the world, and he's the number 14 in honor of you. Canada had tears welling in her eyes as she clenched her pants, fighting tears. She had been doing this for a few years. Now she was a college sophomore. She got into college America dreamed of getting into and was studying aviation with a job at a regional airline. She already wanted to be a pilot and fly her siblings around, not ever dropping hope that she could fly each of them. Sadly, she began coming to the realization, accepting that she'd never fly America. Russia, every time I'm here, you're here. You can't move on, I loved your brother. Russia sat down next to Canada, taking a shaky breath before continuing. America was older than me by a few months. He's too young for this. Too young for us to be talking to him at his grave, but here we are. We need to move on. He won't be getting any less dead. Ukraine has a date lined up for you later. Why don't we go get you ready? Yeah, might as well. The two stood up, walking away from the desolate tombstone. The surrounding tombstones, which sat very far from America's, had moss and overgrowth. Yet America's didn't. Ukraine would never let it get overgrown. America shot up in his hospital bed, not knowing exactly where he was. His eyes darted across the room furiously as he tried to figure out exactly where he was. But that's when he felt his wrist constrained. He looked down and noticed he was handcuffed. He was handcuffed to a hospital bed. America knew what this meant. He was under custody. So were Russia and Ukraine. His sisters weren't safe. He needed to find them again. America struggled against the constraint, screaming in agony as he did so. All of a sudden, about 7 different hands shoved him back onto the bed, holding him down as they fully strapped him down. They were all nurses and doctors, but America had his eyes set on one figure in the corner. Britain. "You!" he screamed, letting it be known that he saw his pathetic father. "This is your fault, you fucking lying piece of shit!"
"Get amnesia ready," a doctor quickly called out.
"If you deserved your daughters, you shouldn't have abused your damn son. You shouldn't have touched me as a child. You shouldn't have beat me so much I ran and took my sister's whip." The room became still. The anesthesiologist, who had just walked in, was now frozen. The door was wide open. The doctors and nurses stopped struggling against America. America himself no longer struggling, as he instead cried. The hall outside was silent and still. Staff and patients staring at the room. "You have lost your bloody mind," Britain spoke finally, a fake calm voice eluding with it. "I have done nothing but give you exactly what you wanted. And this is how I'm treated? Doctor, I'm sure he's mentally ill." Abuse explains the history of X-rays and blunt trauma. Some injuries easily could be sports, but the rest couldn't be. Abuse makes sense. "What are you blabbering on about? It's obvious he's a liar. He was trafficking my daughters." A police officer handcuffed Britain. Protests erupted as it happened. "They wouldn't be living under the same house and circumstances as he was, Mr. Taylor. Officer, I recommend that you bring in federal assistance." "Understood." "He's a lying bastard. He's ruined my life by taking my favorite things from me, my daughters. He tried to kill my wife, his mother. You have to listen to me." "Britain Taylor, you are under arrest." "Russia?" "Yes?" "How come you've never moved on? You dream as if everything was fine from that night onwards." "Because I love you. I always will. You showed me true love and gave me a meaning not to commit suicide." "Why did you want to commit suicide?" "I was only liked because I had a hot sister, a cool-ass dad, and I could play football rather well. I was being used. I hated it." "What about Belarus?" "She is too young to understand still. She wouldn't have understood then either." "She loves you." "I'm her brother. She's obligated to." "But are you obligated to love her because she's your sister?" "Russia?" "Russia, I think it's time you wake up now." "No, I want to hear your voice longer." "Then wake up, silly." "America?" "Good morning, sleepyhead." Russia rolled over in the bed and begrudgingly opened his eyes. A quick kiss was placed rather harshly on his cheek, followed by a familiar laugh. He turned his head to look over at America, his one and only lover. "Good morning," he muttered, smiling faintly. "You're gonna be late for work, dummy," America hummed, jumping out of bed and skipping away. Russia smiled widely and shook his head, a faint laugh emitting from him. "It's Saturday. I don't work Saturdays." "Oh, right. Well, I still made breakfast." Russia chuckled to himself as he slid out of bed and walked to the kitchen, being greeted by his husband, his son, and his daughter. "Auntie Nada is coming over later, Papa." "Is she? Is she bringing your cousins?" "Supposed to be. I don't want to listen to grown-up talk. It's boring." The son pouted.
crossing his arms as he did so. I don't want to be a grown-up.
I didn't want to be either, Mikhail. But you don't have a choice, because I didn't either. America bounced out of the kitchen, holding a plate. He noticed his kids were distracted by Russia, so he hummed, "Who wants pancakes?" and set the plate down, watching the kids quickly grab their share before saying thanks and shoving their mouths full. America walked over to where Russia sat and sat next to him, earning a kiss once he was situated.
"Ew, not in front of my pancakes,"
Mikhail grumbled, looking at his own parents in disgust.
"That's how babies are made. Kissing. That's what Elizabeth from school said."
"Oh, certain types of kissing, dear," Russia quickly responded. "Not that kissing."
"Oh, okay."
Under the table, America's hand laid firmly grasped in Russia's. The two faced many impossible issues together, and each time they succeeded. From shitty parents to scrambling for scholarship money to a long-distance relationship, the two persisted, and now they were here, sitting at the table with their two children, happily married. The end.
And that's the end. I hope you enjoyed it. Anyway, I, again, will invite you to join the Discord. But, thanks for listening. And since you've listened to me for so long, the next story is going to be Broken Crayons. After that is either going to be Rendezvous by Snow Secrets Here or Everlasting War. Another one by Cake. We'll figure it out. That being said, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, night, or whatever it is for you. And I will see you tomorrow.